Welcome. My name is Andrea Otañez. I am a professor in the Department of Communication Journalism and Public Interest Communication program.
And my name is Randy Beam. I'm an emeritus professor in the Department of Communication, and thanks for checking out this virtual information session.
So we want to tell you about an exciting study abroad program next spring. That's spring term 2022 at the UW Study Center in León, Spain. This is a 15-credit UW program open to any undergraduate at the UW or other colleges or universities. So if you have friends who might be interested in the program, be sure to tell them about it. Our program will offer 2 5-credit courses from the Department of Communication taught by both Randy and I, along with a 5-credit conversational Spanish course at whatever level of Spanish is right for you. In this session, we want to tell you more about the León program, tell you about where the program takes place in León, about where you will live while you are in León, about what you will study while you are abroad, and about the excursions that we hope to take during the program, and about opportunities for independent travel during the program. Toward the end, we'll give you our email addresses, and we'll give you a link for a short video that has UW students talking about their experiences in León.
We call our program Exploring Spanish Culture Through Storytelling and Social Inquiry, and that's because we want you to experience Spanish culture through your powers of observation as a storyteller and through a structured inquiry into Spanish media. But more on that in a moment. Just a word about the photo at the top of your screen. It's of UW students in a previous program. They are atop the roof of a very famous cathedral in Santiago de Compostela, which is a fascinating city that's at the end of a pilgrimage route, and that pilgrimage route goes right through León. So let me tell you a little bit about León. I began taking students to the UW Study Center there in 2015, and next spring will be my 5th study abroad program in León. I've come to love León so much, in fact, that I bought an apartment there. León is a city of about 200,000 on what the locals call the Camino, that is the Camino de Santiago. That's the pilgrimage route that ended at the church I showed you in the previous slide. This is a famous pilgrimage route. It's hundreds of years old. In a normal year, about 200,000 pilgrims walk or bike through León on their way to Santiago de Compostela. And their presence gives León a true international feel, I think. You hear languages from many countries and many continents on the street. Originally, walking the Camino was a religious endeavor. These days, however, many people walk the Camino for secular reasons, for the challenge it presents, for the chance to take a short break from ordinary life. León is a compact city in which most people live in apartment buildings, and that's typical of European cities of this size. Even though León has a relatively small population, it's about the third the population of Seattle. It still feels like a larger European city. It's compact. You can easily get around on foot or by bike or by bus.
If you look at the map and find Madrid, Spain's capital, in the center, straight up to the left, you'll see León. So again, look at the center of the map, you see Madrid, look up to the left, and you'll find León. It's about 2 hours by train from León. Every day, about a dozen trains go between Madrid and León. And the photo that you see above the map, that the church at the top is the León Cathedral, the biggest and most famous building in the city of León. Its stained glass windows are considered the finest in Spain, and of course, we always take a tour. León has a reputation as a very friendly city with lots of places to socialize, cafes and restaurants, of course. That's a feature of Spanish culture. It has a favorable climate. When we arrive in late March, the temperatures will be a little warmer than Seattle. When we leave in June, it will be a bit hotter. The area has much less rain than in Seattle. One advantage of going to León in the spring is that you will be in town for Semana Santa, the week leading to Easter. In a typical year, the streets are packed during Semana Santa. Colorful religious processions occur just about every day, and many Spaniards take the week as a holiday. So Semana Santa is a fascinating time to be in Spain.
One of the parts of the program that I think is most appealing is the homestay. So if you come to us to León, to León, you'll live with a local family. Most of the families have hosted students before. You can come and go as you please, as long as you are a considerate member of the household. You'll have your own room in your homestay. You'll have Wi-Fi. Your host families will be available to give you all kinds of practical support, like maybe doing your laundry or perhaps going with you to the clinic if you get sick. A lot of students, I'd say, start out a little dubious about living with the host family, but most end up thinking of that as a highlight of the program. And that's in part because it helps provide a true cultural immersion experience for you. And cultural immersion, that's a key goal of our program. Now, a lot of students who do not speak Spanish start out worrying a little bit about how they'll communicate with their host families. And maybe that will be the case with you, but I'd say don't worry. That's not a problem, partly because you'll be taking a Spanish class and partly because it's quite likely that your family has been a host to students before who do not speak Spanish.
So how is your homestay family chosen? We rely on our partner institution in León, the Centro de Idiomas, to help us with this. The Centro is the language school associated with the University of León. The University of León, it has about 10,000 students, about the size of Central Washington University. In the past, we have set up opportunities for students in our program to meet for coffee with students from the University of León. The Centro, the language school, draws students from all over the world. Its staff has a lot of experience finding host families. The Centro starts this process by asking you to complete a questionnaire while you're here in Seattle. Then it uses your preferences expressed in that questionnaire to find a family that's a good fit for you.
Now, a little bit about your classes. They'll take place in 2 locations that are close together. One of those places is the Centro de Idiomas. That's the building in the photo on the left. There you'll take a conversational Spanish class at whatever level is appropriate for you, from beginner to advanced. You'll be in Spanish classes with students from other parts of the world who also are in León to learn Spanish. These are usually, at least in the past, have been students from China, Korea, Japan, Australia, and sometimes from other European countries. The Spanish course is worth 5 credits.
The communication courses take place in the UW León Center, which is a few blocks from the Centro. The UW Center is the tower of the building on the right. That building is an old palacio, a very large home. That's what palacio means. That's been remodeled into a museum and into the UW Center. It has classroom space, UW Wi-Fi, a computer and printer that you can use, and some meeting space. Everyone in the program will take a comm course in content analysis, which is a method used to study large bodies of media content, advertisements, TV shows, speeches, magazine articles, for example. Content analysis is used by political campaigns or by companies interested in their public profile and by people who conduct research at universities. For comm majors, this course satisfies the research methods requirement, and it's a 5-credit course. And Dr. Beam will teach that course. I will teach a course called Writing with Voice. Excuse me. My course focuses on storytelling using words and audio. We will use León as a field of reporting. We'll pick topics, and we will also bring in personal experiences of as they relate to the research you are doing about place. If you want to know more about these courses, go to the Comm Department webpage and click through to information about our study abroad program. There you'll find links to short videos with more in-depth description of each class. Excursions are an important part of our program, even in the age of COVID. As of now, the UW Study Abroad office is allowing only day excursions for programs like ours. We are confident that we can still provide 3 or 4 interesting day trips. It helps that León is conveniently located on fast train routes that can whisk us to other cities in northern Spain.
So for now, we plan excursions to Madrid, that's Spain's capital, as well as to Segovia and Toledo. Those are two cities in northern Spain with interesting histories and compelling landmarks and good food. If the UW is allowing overnight excursions by the time we arrive in Spain, we'll likely spend another day in Madrid, or we'll take an overnight excursion to another city in northern Spain. So let me tell you just a little bit about the photos you're looking at. On the left, you see a photo of a flamenco dancer. In the past, when we visited Madrid, we've always had the opportunity to see a flamenco performance. It's a kind of storytelling that's common in Spain, particularly southern Spain. And in fact, we've taken a flamenco lesson through an organization in Madrid. We typically, when we go to Madrid, also take a tour of street art, and the photo to the right of the flamenco dancer, sort of in the center, is of a doorway at a women's center that has been painted. It's an example of the kind of street art we'd see. Top right, that's our group from 2019, gathered after a tour of some very spectacular caves, very large caves. You don't feel claustrophobic at all in them. Very large caves that are about a 30-minute drive or so from León. We usually go to the caves on the first weekend that we're in town to kind of give everybody an opportunity to get to know each other, everybody in the program. And along with us, our program isn't quite that large. Along with us in this particular picture are students from a UW Spanish program, which was in León at the same time. And it's pretty typical for there to be 2 or 3 UW programs all at the same time in León. So we will not be the only group of UW students there. And finally, below is a picture of the aqueduct in Segovia. And again, it's a city that we hope to visit during our spring program in León. We'll take the train down to Segovia and get a tour of the city. The aqueduct dates back to the Roman times. So the cost of the excursions are covered by your program fee. You'll also have plenty of opportunity to travel independently in Spain if you want to do so. In the past, almost everybody has wanted to do so. Almost all students do. As of now, UW is requiring all students to stay in Spain until the program ends. I don't see that as a big disadvantage, as there are plenty of fascinating places to visit in that country. But we know that since you're in Europe, you may want to try to visit other countries. And so what we plan to do is to end the program a few days earlier than we normally would, allowing you to travel outside of Spain at the end of the term.
Okay, so finally, here's a breakdown of the costs. So as you can see here, the program fee overall is $7,860. This includes 2 study abroad administrative fees and then the participation fee. So this covers tuition, homestays, meals, excursions, food stipends for excursions, right? So all of your meals related to the program in the homestays. And then again, if we are out and about, all the food covered there as part of the program as well. You'll see here the plane fare to Madrid usually runs about $1,000 to $1,600. That is outside the cost of the program fee, so that's a cost you'll cover yourself. Then also train or bus to León is $50 each way, and that's just an estimate, from Madrid. And yeah, and Randy, do you want to talk about the application deadline?
Yes, the application deadline is November 15th. You can go to the Study Abroad website. You can look for Apply Now, and it will take you to this application form. There are 3 questions. We want you to just directly answer the questions. These do not need to be very long, extensive essays. What we're really looking for is in your responses is to try to get a feel for whether this is a good fit for you. This program is going to meet your needs. So again, doesn't need to be hugely long answers. just respond to the questions directly. You'll be asked to provide one recommendation, and this can be a faculty member who knows you, a TA who knows you, a former teacher who knows you from high school, somebody who knows you as a result of your work, maybe a job that you have. So the key thing is to find somebody who knows you and can respond to a series of short questions about you. It's likely to take your recommender maybe 10 or 15 minutes to do this. So we're not looking for a huge, long letter of recommendation in your behalf. And what about COVID? Well, the situation with COVID changes week to week, both in the US and at UW and in Spain. And so the UW Study Abroad program will be keeping us posted about developments related to COVID there. From my reading, Spain's situation is at this point, at the time that we're recording this, which is in late May, is about the same as it is in the US. Maybe the vaccination program is a couple weeks behind, but at least as things stand now, that is again, mid to late May, COVID case rates are falling. And so we're optimistic that we'll have a lot of opportunity to do the kinds of things that we've done in the past in León by the spring of 2022. So.
Okay, so that's our presentation. Thanks for watching this and checking out our program. Here you can see our emails if you have questions of either of us. We are both prompt email responders, so please get in touch with us. You can also find information about the program on the Department of Communication website and searching for Communications Spain.
And finally, we want to tell you about a video that you can look at on your own, in which students talk about their experiences in León in the autumn of 2019. And you can find it posted on Vimeo. Here is the Vimeo address for that video. So it includes comments from students in previous communication programs and also students in Spanish programs that took place at the same time we were in León. And I believe that there's also a faculty member from the UW who teaches Spanish, who talks a little bit about the city and his experiences there. So I think it's important to keep in mind that this video was made before COVID. So some of the information that's conveyed might seem just a little bit out of date. But I think it's a great way to get a better feel for what life is like in León and for what students have thought of about their experience there. So we'll leave this recording going for about another 30 seconds or so that you can write down the link to the video. And again, thanks for your interest in our program, and be sure to tell your friends about it.
Yes. Hope to hear from you all and see your applications.
Yep. Thanks. Bye-bye.